There we go.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody. Alisa and I are very excited. We're going to do an update on a lot of the things that are going to be coming. And how are you, Alisa?
I am wonderful, honey. It's great to see you.
Good,
I
good.
enjoyed seeing you and Scott the other night. That was very much great information, and it was fun too. And I loved it
Yeah,
when you said Hillary's a rock. I thought that was great. So
yeah. Yeah, I've been getting that for a long time that she would have to go back and be a rock. So that's kind of like the beginning of the evolution of learning.
mm,
So she'll
yeah.
probably be a rock for a very long time.
So,
We're going to talk about med beds today, replicators, free energy. Elisa's got a beautiful song that we're going to show, and I'll put the link below. And Elisa has all kinds of music that's very uplifting. So if you're interested, I would definitely go subscribe and listen to some of her music. The words are amazing. And Elisa's been the writer. She's the writer of all this. So I think
yeah.
that's really good. Um, what else are we going to do? We're going to kind of talk about the interdimensionals and the Tartarians as well, because I feel like we're going to have a lot of interaction with them. Because as we go through Ascension, we're going to get to spend more time with interdimensional beings. The Tartarians ascended, so we're going to be in a place where we can actually interact with them pretty quickly here, which
Mhm.
is going to be amazing. So, um, Mr. T, or Mr. T, has mentioned the med beds, and he did not say med bed, but he talked about new technology that was about to roll out and healing and frequency. And so we are close to that happening. I do think the ones in the hospitals that we will see, and I feel like the hospitals will be mostly shut down.
Mhm.
So we may have emergency room and maybe like a small healing area, but eventually they will just shut themselves down and those buildings will be used for other things.
Mhm.
But the med beds will be mostly the healing med bed. I don't see people immediately walking out of those places 30 years younger. I don't see that as part of the protocol at
Right.
first. But if you have a dis-ease, then I think that you can have that taken care of quite quickly
Right.
and things will just progress. Now, Alisa has something else that's going on. So she has a project. So tell us about your project because that's going to be a different kind of scenario and it will probably not be for everybody at first.
And which project would that be?
Your med bed project on the island.
Okay, because I have some.
I know.
Well, my med bed project, well, I'm dealing with 26 islands, 3 ships and 3 seas, and one underneath the ground in South Carolina. So that's a large amount of med bed facilities, and they are private and secure, but those ones. Now they're rolling out these new ones. They've had the EE system, and now they're coming out with a second generation of these med beds to get them more acclimated into the society and the public. But the ones that I am referring to are the ones, these are mostly, I don't want to say mostly, but they are for the ones who came here from higher dimensions. That the 5D, the sixth and seventh and eighth dimension that came here and we're incognito. These med beds are for those who are the way showers, the teachers, all the ones who's going to be our scientists and our new doctors and our teachers and everything else, our mentors. We're the ones who's supposed to be getting this started for the people. And it's kind of like they're going to have it out here in the public with these new systems that are going this way. It's going to keeping us, getting used to the idea, second generation, right? That means that there'll be a third generation. Well, we're already here with the top one, that's the holographic one, and we're kind of like meeting each other. Okay,
Yeah.
as it flows forward, it's going to come meet up with it. But these particular med beds that I'm talking about are the holographic ones. Okay, they are not mechanical; they are quantum, and they can take you back to 30, 25, or 30 years old. Okay, a lot of people, I'm going to say between 25 and 50 is about average. But it is for us to be able to go into these systems so that we can get our projects started. Okay, and then help everybody else. Again, the public's coming this way and we're coming this way. So we're going to meet
Yeah,
up in the middle and it's all going to join together, and we have so much help doing this. So, and I'm very, very
mhm,
grateful for that. So,
me too. Yeah.
mhm,
And think
yeah.
about the parallels.
Mhm,
Like, I don't think we talk about that enough. I mean, I talk about it a lot, but if you go watch like Doctor Strange and the multiverse, and the parallels are talked about in so many different
mhm,
television shows and movies because that is divinely guided. But the parallels, what is your frequency? If you know that your frequency is really high, you're doing your inner work, you're healing,
mhm.
then you're going to get access to these kinds of beds that Alisa is talking about
Right,
sooner because you have to interact with them.
right,
Your frequency has to interact with them. Whereas the mechanical med bed, you don't have to. You're just
right,
laying there and you're getting healed. So, it's not going to do all the things because some of the people that get into those, their frequency might be very low,
right,
actually.
right.
So, remembering that um, is important. Now, if you have a physical issue, you can pop into one of those and get that healed and then continue on to the holographic later.
Mhm. Right.
So, how it all rolls out, that still remains to be seen, like how it's
Right.
exactly going to work because
Mhm.
the white hats are really pushing right now. I could
Mhm.
feel the energy surge last night. It starts to ramp up, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So, the energy does feel a little weird today. So, you were saying that too, Lisa. Like
Mhm.
it gets kind of anxiety ridden almost. The energy gets kind of angsty, and that's because so much is happening at once. And also the souls are really pushing things to get worked through. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Well,
But
mine's
I
been
just
kind of
wanted to clear that up
wobbly.
about. Go ahead.
I said
Sorry.
mine's been kind of wobbly, like I've been fumbly today. But it's not been a fumbling like to upset me or anything. It's kind of like I'm just walking around my own little maze or something, but I've dealt with it, but it's not bad. It's just like something's just like I'm on a boat maybe, but very mild. But
Yeah,
it's okay, definitely different. So,
I bumped into the wall today. Like
yeah.
I was going like through like a narrow area and I
Uh,
bumped into the wall and I was like, what in the world is going on? And I think because we're in a new parallel right now, probably. So every time you go up in parallels and they're fairly big, like a big jump, they're
mhm.
not fully formed yet. So you are in kind of like a boat, you know?
Yeah.
You're in a thing that's not fully like manifested completely.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk a little bit about the replicators because I think a lot of businesses that we think are, massive and we're not going to be able to live without them. I think the replicator is going to replace a lot of them.
Right. So
Yeah.
these are going to be very handy things. Well, as far as like replicators in our home and stuff like that, that's still a little bit way off. Okay, but we can use these things to make things easier. Now imagine, factories. They can just make things one after another. It doesn't need people, you know. That's going to be helping us going into the future to where we can have free time to do things for ourselves and allow these machines and technology to do the work for us.
Mhm.
But imagine what it can do. You can feed so many people, in one shot by just replicating it out. Now, I do know that whenever they start bringing in food for people and stuff like this, here like Tartaria, they have been preparing massively for this. Whenever they bring in, I'm just going to call them care packages. But whenever they bring this stuff in, they grow it, okay? But they also have had a lot that is coming out of the replicators because we need it quickly. You need a large quantity very quickly. And that's where it comes in handy. And you got to think about these third world countries, that's in dire need of food and stuff. Just like the military used to take these care packages and drop them off, well, now we're going to be able to have that and be able to do it for the people that don't have these kind of access to stuff like this here. So it does serve a great purpose. And as we go forwards, like I said, we're pushing ourselves forward, and it's right there, and it's going to meet us. But the more you raise your frequency, the higher positive mindset that you have, and just stay positive on a daily basis. And that is what's going to get you to that point. Now, those who don't think about this stuff, and those who are still not quite awake, those are the ones, whenever they find out about this second generation of med beds, sure, they're going to go want to. Of course, they're human. They're going to, what if I can do this, so let me do this. But their frequency isn't high enough to take them past that as of yet. But it's a start, because once they believe in that, then that in itself can raise their frequency so that they can go forwards and maybe work on themselves more, and get to the holographic quantum med beds. So yeah.
Right. Well, and that's why it's like an accordion, the parallels, or a spiral staircase. And the further you go up, the higher your frequency is. So
Exactly.
remembering that is important. And also, I don't believe that we're going to have, especially in the higher parallels, hardly any NPCs anymore.
Right.
So we're really going to have a very minimal population in the higher parallels, and then eventually people will keep rising. So, as the parallels are kind of separated, we're not going to see a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, which is going to make things easier to get whatever work we've chosen to do done. And then that will be shared with all the parallels as they keep rising.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the higher you raise your frequency, the more negative things can't be around you, and that even goes all the way down to, like mosquitoes and stuff like that there. I've had several people tell me, have you noticed the mosquitoes aren't around? All of this. And I said, I have noticed that. And I don't want to say it's just a coincidence, because it's not. And I do think that, the higher we raise our frequency, it's like any kind of negative thing like that can't be around that positive energy. It's a repellent. It has to get away from it, So, I mean, if it's not on your phone or on your TV or at your door, don't worry about it. That means that God's given you peace and quiet and time to figure things out on your own and to raise your frequency. And I have definitely noticed that, like in my own little world over here. I mean, it's gotten to where it's so the outside world just isn't, it's like it almost doesn't exist,
Right.
other than when I have to go to the grocery store, then, I'm just glowing like a light bulb, because it doesn't matter what comes at me. I'm doing my thing. But yeah, every day to keep your vibration high, and it just takes that stuff further and further away from you. It makes things a lot easier. So yeah.
It does. It really does. It's kind of amazing right now. And we did have a period of time where a lot of crazy stuff happened, and we were all sandwiched together. And I think that was to see the Mr. T event with the attempt on, his life.
Yeah.
And after that happened, I feel like they started to separate a little bit more again. But I know there was a lot more angsty people that were around, and you could see them right before that and right during that time. And then now they've started to kind of fade again. So they're starting to separate more.
Well,
So,
I actually wrote a song about that. It's called Shots Fired You Missed. So please go check it out, my brothers and sisters. But a lot of people are like, we're looking for events. We're looking for something, there's got to be some kind of a sign, some kind of thing that's going to let us know things. Well, I definitely take that rally as it was significant. It was a significant event, a significant sign that, look at it like you're dropping a boulder, in a lake, and it's going to ripple all the way out. Whenever that moment happened, it rippled, because we were all aware of it. We were all watching it. We were all part of it. We were all listening. And then that happened. So even the negative people even had a heart. was my point. Everybody was affected by it. And as that wave goes out, it's rippling and it's changing everything. And it's causing everything to happen faster. Why? Because all of us was in the same mindset of compassion. This isn't right. Something needs to change. We're not going to take this no more. We're taking a stand, and that energy just rolled its way out, and God was bringing more things in because we all reacted with the same type of energy. So thank you, my brothers and sisters. That was awesome for us to come together like that. So,
So I want to show you guys Alisa's song. And
yeah.
it's called Worthy, which is very important. We need to know that we're worthy of this change. And I love it because it's very Generation X, which I am. So I'm going to play just a snip of it, and then I'll put the whole thing below.
I am strong, I am free. Got the world at my feet. In the mirror I see the power inside of me.
I love that. The words are really good. Another thing too is Alisa has so many songs on here, you guys. Like, there's so much music. She's just been writing constantly. So I would definitely go check it out. There's so much that you can see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
it's
the
definitely
pictures are
been using me for because I used to be back in the day, in the late 80s and the early 90s. Believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, I used to be part of a country band in Texas. And I had fun. It helped pay my way through my first 2 years of college. And but I always was writing things, and I noticed that back then people really weren't ready for the kind of things that we're talking about today, so it got pushed to the side. And but I was always pretty good about writing poetry. And then it got put on the back burner, like I'm going to say many years. And then when all this stuff is coming out, God puts this here AI program in front of me, and that can help do music. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? I don't know nothing about this stuff. And God said that, I'll help you, but I want you to do what you do best. And I said, what is that? And that is your poetry, your words, your songwriting. So, and I was like, really? And God did help me through learning how to use this program. Okay. And it's called Suno.com. And I would highly suggest it, my brothers and sisters, if you have any creativity in your poetry, I would definitely go over there and check it out. Now, it does take a little bit to get used to it, to learn it. But as you can see from the music that I'm doing, that it is doable. But it's like all the things that we talk about, the UFOs, the contact, the technologies, and God, and getting our frequencies higher and so forth. These are the things that I write about, and God has used me as like a conduit, has helped me get this out there. And I feel like that for our community, I'm kind of like a DJ that is putting out these songs for us that we can listen to, that reminds us, so that we don't get so much trapped in the 3D world. We can listen to things that we are familiar with and that we do want to stay focused on. So, and I've been very honored to be able to do that for myself and all of you, my brothers and sisters. I love you so much. So please come on over there and check it out. I have anything from country to rock to pop to R&B. It's just got a good diversity to it, but I do, the one that Honey put up here to help me with, let y'all know about, it is from the Generation X. I mean, think about it. We haven't heard any good rock, that has anything to do with what we're talking about, and God knows how long. And I know there's so many of my brothers and sisters that went through that stage just like I did. And it's like, that's whenever rock, in other words. So please, I hope you do enjoy it and come over and check out all of my music. And thank you, Honey, for letting me say that.
Of course, yeah, it's great. And it's, that it's going to be a good frequency. That's what's really important, is to feed your body and your mind beautiful frequency, because that's what we're made up of, is frequency. Another thing I want to talk about is what's called energy vision. So I want to show this picture. So let me get this going here. So this is really cool. This is basically, this is AI generated. This, I believe, is a drawing. And I feel like this is the blue avians. or some version of them. And somebody obviously saw them, an interdimensional being. So everything is actually visible if we allow it to be visible. But
Mhm.
there's a guy who
That's
made a machine. Isn't this beautiful?
It is beautiful.
Yeah. So there's a guy that made a machine. Do you see that, Alisa?
I see
That
the,
all the little pictures?
no, all I see is the one big one.
Okay. Let me stop the share and go back because sometimes it won't go to the next thing. Okay, so this guy, his name is Dr. Daniel Neems. And I purchased a book or 2 books maybe from Amazon that I believe are by him. But if you look at this, and I'll put this video up again on Telegram, you can see that he's created a machine where you can see the interdimensional beings.
Mhm.
And what's cool is they all have eyes, a nose, and a mouth. And that's kind of very common for ETs and ghosts and everybody. We all have a very similar structure,
Mhm.
but slight differences will freak out a human being. So I think it's a good way for us to start thinking about we are going to be seeing people that look different and that maybe speak to you through telepathy. Our eyes, they don't
Mhm.
see very much. We're
Right.
seeing like very minimal frequency. And I believe that that will expand as our consciousness expands because it's the brain that's not reading it.
Mhm.
So kind of start to prepare yourself is what I would say. Your
Right.
conscious mind,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe. The 3D glasses that has the red lens and the blue lens. There was just some dude I got, it's been a while, but apparently he took some kind of filters like that and put it over a thin what would be like a welder's mask type of glass. And it helped him be able to see the shapes of other dimensional beings. And of course, they shut him down pretty quick. But that's pretty much all I can remember about that was if you put this on, just like that movie, They Live, with Roddy
Yes,
Piper. And you put these glasses on, and then you can see these dimensional beings and other beings. But yeah, it's like people have seen ghosts and apparitions and stuff like that there, but that's because their mind is kind of like ready for that, or they have that extra frequency range that they can see that we can't. But these things are very,
right.
very real. And like you were saying, they all have their features. You can see that. It's not just random. So,
Right. And they don't mean any harm. They've been here the whole time.
right.
So, remember that when you do see something,
Hmm.
is that they've always been here. The biggest thing for me is it's like, I don't want anybody in the bathroom with me when I'm in there. And I used to say that all the time, like, stay out of the bathroom. You're not allowed in here. And then I was like, I give up because basically walls aren't real.
Right.
None of that stuff is real. It's all just in our own mind.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there is no privacy.
I know I have that mentality too when I first realized it. Then it's like I got over it, and I'll just strut myself to the bathroom butt naked, be like, glory, let my body shine. I don't care. And all my glory, because it doesn't bother me anymore.
Right.
Because I mean, I have to look at myself in a mirror, and it's like, you know, I've gotten past that too. There's a lot of people who can't get past that, but you know what? I tell Alisa in the mirror, you know what? You're a tough old broad. I love you. And the scars that you have on you, you've earned those scars.
Yeah.
It's because of no hesitation. You've done your job, and I'm so proud of you. I've gotten past all the other things. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind having a tan or a little bit of something like that there, but other than that, love who you are, my brothers and sisters, and
Yeah.
tell yourself how much you love them and how proud you are of them. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Love your body. Like it's your vehicle and
Mhm.
be kind to your body. Um, And your inner child really is very connected to the body.
Mhm.
So whenever you pick on your body, you're picking on the inner child as well. So you want to be
Mhm.
really careful about that because that's your human consciousness.
Mhm.
I want to talk a little bit about the agreement that humanity made also. So the agreement that humanity made a long time ago, and I get it was kind of in the midst of Atlantis. They made the agreement to be in the third density because they weren't third density beings.
Right.
So they made the agreement to basically be unplugged. So to have a lot of their DNA disconnected, deactivated. And they did this through suppression. So they separated the masculine and feminine and created kind of a suppression of the feminine.
Mhm.
And it hurt both the feminine and the masculine. And
Mhm.
those agreements have been broken recently. So somebody asked me, why are we getting a crystalline body? Why are we going through ascension in our body? And it's because we want the body that we had to begin with. So humanity is going to have a fifth density body. And in order to do that, it needs to be crystalline. It needs to have all the DNA connected. And we are doing that within the body. So you're either going to ascend inside or outside the body. We've always ascended outside.
Mhm.
But this is special because we're bringing humanity back to its original form.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, is to transform it back to its original form. You know, it's not like it's just like it forgot. And now we have to help it get back to that point. And that's what we are doing, is waking up our brothers and sisters and encouraging them to, you know, keep going forward, no matter what it may seem. But I am really grateful that I get to be on this ride with everybody and experience all this stuff, because there are so many things happening that's changing. And it's just it's on another scale now, you know. And yes, it was like that ripple effect from the rally, and then you turn around and you get this massive power outage, you know. And all of these different things has been occurring, and it's like it's got to lead somewhere, because I do know that they had to reset the system. In order to reboot it, you have to shut it down, and then it has to come back up, you know. It was like, I know a lot of people were disrupted by it, but I'm glad that everybody is okay. But it's something that had to happen. But you can see these events as you're going forwards, more and more things are occurring. And then, you know, good old Biden is, stepping down from the thing. And that was another thing that we were visually looking for, you know, and it happened. This is happening, you know, so it's showing us that we're going forwards in these different steps, and things are changing as we take these steps. So stay positive, my brothers and sisters, because I do know that I don't think that we're going to have a regular ballot thing this year, you know, because God told me it's not going to be this like anything else that we've ever experienced before. So I do know that by the end of this year, it is going to be so much better, because next year is our catapult. It's like this stuff is going to start rolling out, and we don't have any problems with somebody stopping us. It's like I was telling on a couple of shows before, is that the Chevron case got turned over in the Supreme Court. A lot of people are like, well, that's gas. Now, they are the rulers. They are the gods of the FDA. Okay. And they weren't even elected. That's why it was overturned. But they would tell the FDA, no, you can't have this, you can't do that. And if you don't buy our stuff, you can't do this. And it has a lot to do with our medical. Okay. And also the regulations on everything that has been overturned now. So now the regulations are different. And let's say they're bringing out the second generation of these med beds. Now they can do it and not be shut down. And now you can go to your doctor and start asking for alternative medicines and stuff like this here, because they will be available, because it's not being shut down anymore. So this is a very significant thing for us. And it goes with our food too. People are growing things. By regulation, they had to put poison in it. Now they don't have to do that. You know, but how long will that take? I think it's already been happening for us. And now this is just coming out to tell us that it has happened. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie called Galaxy Quest, which was pretty funny, you know, but in there they talk about the things that they've seen on Earth is happening, and they always call them the historical documents. Okay, so this is how I see the news and everything. They're already showing us what has already happened because it's historical documents. So stay in that mindset that whatever you're seeing is occurring, it's already happened. It just took time to get you to see it.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. Like, some of this stuff happened years ago. And a lot of it has happened over the last 2 years. And that's why we've been looping. And humanity's finally ready to push forward. So the white hats are honoring that, and they are pushing forward. And they're also being pushed by the energy, you know. Like, they're definitely being pushed. Another thing I wanted to bring up was the freedom that we're going to have. So the Chevron did all kinds of stuff. And I won't mention all of it here, but basically regulation went out the window for all kinds of stuff, including like your car tags and a lot of different things. But I wanted to mention the energy as well. So everybody will have access to their birth money, which is a straw and a man money. And they will have it more like a trust fund. Most people, unless you're retired already, and then you will get quite a bit more, I believe. But you're also going to have free energy. So when you go out and you look at the power poles and you look at those power stations that have all those very interesting contraptions, and then go and look at Tartarian buildings, and look at the top,
the little
and
spirals.
know, it's being generated. It's not all coming from some coal plant on the East Coast, which is what I was always told as a kid. So, you know, it's not all being generated by dams, and it's not all being generated far away and being brought in. It's being generated at those stations.
Right, exactly. They're pulling it in just like they used to do back in the Tartaria days, except that they're charging us for it.
Right. So that's going to stop. I don't think people will be charged for it anymore.
Right. And the houses back then, you know, they didn't have the wires and stuff. Every house would have its own little spiral thing and pull it in itself. You know, so this is what they've added to the modernization, is all of these poles and lines and stuff like this here. But it is to feed it to us so that they can turn around and charge us for something that's free.
So, and I think that will be included in your monthly income. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't see anybody being charged for that. I also think people will, there's perpetual motion machines, and I think those will come out as well. There's going to be so many things that get released.
Well, I've had a lot of people ask, you know, like where the straw accounts, how would they get access to that? How am I going to get it? How would I be notified and stuff like this here? Well, I know my brothers and sisters, you remember whenever pretty much the IRS got overtaken. Okay. Well, it's been flipped. Okay. It's all white hats and stuff like this here, but those are the ones that will be notifying you about your straw accounts. Okay. Because they already have that information on you. And as far as like everything flowing, pushing forwards with the white hats, even more so now, it has a lot to do with ever since that eclipse that we had and all those ships that came through that portal. Okay. This is what's pushed the white hats even more so, because now they got all kinds of help here to back them up, where they didn't have before. It was like, you know, you have to deal with the same team all the time. Well, now we got more guys here to help and push it even further. So I do know that all these things has been rolling in to take effect. But as far as that straw account, I have been told that that is exactly who's going to be taking care of it for us, is the IRS will be notifying us. And as far as like going to the med beds and stuff like this here, the quantum med beds, the Tartarians are going to be helping us with that, because they're going to be our middlemen. because they can come in, they can blend in with us. Because there's a lot of us as incognito that have star families that are here that don't look human. So it made
Right.
perfect sense that they're using the Tartarians as a middleman. So they will be coming in and helping to teach us, be our mentors, wealth managers, lawyers, doctors, and stuff like this here, because like Honey said, they've already ascended past what we're doing right now. But that's a good thing because it's coming out. They've already ascended. Now it's coming out to the center, which that's where we're at. So we are going to be joining up with it. It's just going to take it just a little bit longer. So
Mhm.
patience, patience, patience.
Yeah. And remember, we're on the bridge. So we're
Mm.
on the bridge to 5D, and
Mhm,
that's density. So fifth density. And
mhm.
they're in fifth density. So we're basically walking up towards them
Right,
on a spiral.
right,
And we're getting closer and closer. And the first ones that we see will look like us, and then
mhm.
they will start not looking like us.
Right,
So it depends on your parallel how quickly you get access to like more advanced
mhm,
tech.
right,
You may not be like, let's say your relative is not going to be able to accept holographic items of any kind. That will be totally scary to them.
right.
But they will be able to accept laying in something that looks like a CAT scan machine.
Or a tanning bed, something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
Because they're
So,
more familiar with it. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what they'll get first,
Right.
you know? So
Mhm,
just remembering that and remembering that we have whatever we want whenever we get to the vibration that will
mhm.
accept it. So keep
Right.
working on yourself
Right.
and that will keep going up.
Right. Now you were saying that the Tartarians are in fifth density, but they're not in fifth dimension yet. So just people will ask about that because I've had people ask me about that. The density and dimension is two different things. They are one, but they are two different things. It's kind of like their frequency is almost at 5D. In other words, they could probably walk through the door no problem, where ours is not. Okay. Our
Right.
density isn't that high yet, but theirs is that high. And that's why they're going to come over here and help us so that we can get to that higher density so that we can get into the fifth dimension. So,
Right. And dimension is consciousness
right,
and density is physicality.
right.
So we're in the fourth density now, like at the very top where things have started to calm down. At least, Alisa and I and whoever we're talking to directly are
Yeah.
in that density. And we're
Mhm.
moving into fifth density. Some of us are already in the fifth dimension when it comes to how we're manifesting things, how our consciousness is working, but the density is the thing really that we're striving for and
Right,
to keep going up in our consciousness, in our dimensionality,
right.
which is,
Mhm.
it always gets mixed up. It seems like those two things.
They do.
Yeah.
And this is why I wanted to talk about that. It's just that,
Yeah.
your density is your frequency. You want to raise that frequency so high that nothing can stop you from where you're going.
Mhm.
In other words, you can walk through anything and do anything without no disruption. Kind of like a coat, your density. You want to make it a
Yeah.
thinner and thinner and thinner coat, because
Mhm.
you shine so brightly.
Right. Or your body's going to be more and more see-through. Like we are going to
Right,
shine brighter. You know
right.
how the human body shines already? Like you can
Mhm,
see it on infrared.
mhm.
It's going to shine brighter and brighter because we are crystalline, which creates like a diamond kind of effect.
Right.
And what does it look like when you shine light on a diamond?
That's right.
It's
Absolutely
pretty
beautiful, isn't it?
shiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and diamonds
um,
are made out of carbon. So,
mhm. Yeah, so we basically just became more advanced. And I
perfect.
do feel that most people's DNA is already reattached and
Mhm,
activated, but that
mhm.
doesn't mean that their mind knows it yet.
Right.
So that's the rub. Like the biggest thing that we're working on is letting go of programming and letting the mind expand.
Right.
So Do you have anything else that we were going to talk about?
Um,
I don't see anything on my list.
I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. No. Oh, no, other than that, I think that we should stay focused every day. Find something that makes you happy. Find something that makes you smile. And I would definitely, if you want to listen to music and come over and listen to some of mine, but listen to uplifting or positive things. Everything is created the instant you make a choice. Okay. I know that's hard to belief, but that is true. So whenever you make a choice, like you have two movies in front of you, one is good and one is a negative one, that's your choice. Whatever one you chose, then that's on you. But try to make better choices on the more positive sides. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you read a book, listen to music, watch movies, who you're talking to. It's that instant you make that choice, it's going to take you down that route. So try to stay away from the negative music, negative movies and stuff like this. Here, go watch something that's uplifting, something that's laughter. Laughter is such a good medicine for the body, and it helps raise the vibration very easily. So go have yourself a belly laugh. Go find something that brings you happiness, no matter what it is. Stay in a positive state of mind, because that keeps your frequency high. And once you keep doing that, you don't have to try so hard. So now you're trying for the next level. So once you can maintain it, then you can just keep going upwards, in other words. So
Yeah, I totally agree. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Alisa. This was so much fun. So I will probably do these updates every once in a while to kind of keep everybody apprised of what's going on. I just feel like things are really positive right now. And
mhm.
even if you haven't seen it in a big way for yourself, like it's all out there. It's
Mhm.
all happening. So we're in it right now, you guys.
That's right.
So
So
enjoy it.
just focus on today, the now, always. But think how close we are to the end of the year and all the things it is happening and is going to be happening. So let's manifest it, my brothers and sisters. Manifest it.
Mhm. Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Alisa.
Thank you, honey. I love you, and I always enjoy
I
being with
love
you. And
you
again,
too.
I
This
think your
was so
hair
much
looks
fun.
fantastic. I wanted to tell you that the other day. I think your hair looks good the
Thank
way
you.
she did it. And my brothers and sisters, remember, you are everything that you see, no exception. So be kind to it.
Yes. Love you guys.
Yep.
Bye.